Well, as you know, I spent quite a bit of time here in the pre-war period. And when the invasion happened, I had friends who were in Donetsk, who were in the Ukrainian army, who were writing to us and telling us, we're not going to survive tonight. We've been hit 500 times. These are graduates of Defense Language Institute. These were my friends. And, as the more I saw of the war going on, the more I thought, I'm done talking. All right. It's time to take action here.
So that came out this morning. That is Malcolm Nance, who's a contributor, or previously was a contributor to MSNBC, who is now fighting in Ukraine for the Ukrainians. He tweeted, "I'm done talking," with this sort of quasi promotional photo here. You can see there of him with his equipment. He gives a little bit more of his thought process in choosing to go fight in Ukraine in this video.
So about a month ago, I joined the International Legion here in Ukraine, and I am here to help this country fight, what essentially is a war of extermination. This is an existential war, and Russia has bought it to these people, and they are mass murdering civilians. And there are people here like me who are here to do something about it.
So, David, of course, we know that there have been thousands of international volunteers to this effort, including Americans. This is one of the first times I've seen a former, basically newsper, like a contributor who had prior experience with intelligence and things like that. What do you make of this?
Well, first of all, even though it's not the kind of move that I would make, I give anybody great respect if you're going to walk the walk, talk the talk. I mean, this is how he feels strongly about it. Rather than just talk about this on TV and advocate for more involvement, he's going to put himself involved. So good for him. I'm not sure that Ukraine is quite as a principled war as some of the supporters of Ukraine like to point out. And by the way, I'd love to see some US analysts who would say, you know what? I'm going to volunteer to help, I don't know, maybe in Yemen, where the United States has been helping with the naval blockade of to try to keep the Iranian, weapons from going in, but thereby also starving the Yemeni people. I mean, wars are complicated, and Ukraine also has its share of complications. But again, hats off to him, because he's not just sitting back on a TV and pontificating. He says this is important to me, and so he's doing it.
Yeah, that's definitely true. A credit to the, for instance, activists, the people who work for nonprofits who do go to conflicts like Yemen. You don't see the high profile stuff necessarily as much. That said, this is an incredibly dangerous thing to do, and assuming everything is as it's being presented and seems, it is certainly courageous. He could be captured. He could die at any moment. At one point during that interview, they saw, I believe, cruise missiles fly by. Those could have hit his location. So that is certainly courageous. And you're right, most will just pontificate. I will be taking that road, actually. I'm gonna stay right here because I don't think I have much to contribute on the ground in Ukraine necessarily, nor is there a broad base asking for me to contribute in terms of arms. Look, if it starts polling well, I guess I'll be forced. For now, I'm gonna do this. Anyway, more details on him. According to his author biography, Malcolm Nance is a globally recognized counterterrorism expert with decades of experience in US intelligence. By the way, he's apparently 60. So that is even more impressive, going to fight when you're 60. He says he was grateful to be here to fight against Russia. He says, I'm glad that I can help my friends and I don't have to hear them talk about how many kids were killed that day. We're going to try to put a stop to that. Bear in mind, Ned Price, State Department spokesperson, said just last month that US citizens traveling to Ukraine to fight against the Russians, quote, face significant risks, including the very real risk of capture or death.
I would just add that the risk also goes up if you're doing broadcast television interviews from Ukraine with a US network, because even though the technology is awfully complicated, there are people who can sort of decipher exactly where this broadcast is emanating from. So for Mr. Nance's safety's sake, maybe just stick to, I don't know, tweets and social media. Don't actually do the live broadcast, or maybe do them taped just in case anybody's figuring out your GPS.
Yeah, that is a very real potential threat. I'm glad that he also had a little bit more message discipline than like a Geraldo back during the invasion of Iraq, literally just saying where they were at. If Malcolm Nance is gonna do follow-up interviews, some sort of like anonymous background. That's what I would suggest. Don't be specific for your own safety and the safety of the people you're fighting with. But anyway, so far seems responsible. It's not the choice that I am choosing to make, but I do respect it on a level. Yes.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.